What if you haven't got a really good proposition? What if you don't know what you need to say? You've thought about it and you just can't get to the bottom of it. As a creative, or if you're a client or working with your client, how can you get to the truth of what the real issues are and what the real goal should be? Well, there's a great system of thinking here called the 7 levels of why. Now, this is not mine and Chris's. It actually comes from a guy called Ray Dalio and his book Principles. Now, Ray Dalio is a billionaire many times over. He's essentially a hedge fund manager. He's a financial genius. But his genius lies in the ability to look at systems and come up with strategies, essentially. I mean, he gets better results for his clients because he's better at strategic thinking. Now, he got this from a friend of his and he's outlined it in this book Principles. So if you want to check it out, I'd highly recommend doing so. But we can actually apply it to the creative advertising process. It's very, very simple. The truth often lies beneath the surface. It's a bit like an iceberg. An iceberg looks pretty big on the surface anyway, but you can have the equivalent of a mountain underneath the water. Now, in order to get deeper, in order to see what lies beneath the surface, we need to ask ourselves why. And it's thought that 7 is actually the maximum number of times you'll need to ask yourself why before you hit the rock solid truth at the bottom. Now, I've done this exercise a few times. It is very, very effective. You may need to actually ask yourself it a few more times depending on how complex your issue is or whether you're struggling to get an answer. But if you check out the resources as part of this course, you'll find 7 levels of why worksheet where we actually give you more attempts, if you like, just to make sure that you've got enough whys to ask yourself to get to your truth. And you'll see, if you download the worksheet, you'll see what I'm talking about there. But let's look at the exercise itself. We'll look at 2 really super generic examples so that you can see how it works. We start off by asking ourselves, what do we want to achieve? On the surface, the answer might be a new look and feel for our brand. That might be the brief that you're starting with as a creative. Number 1, why? Well, it needs a refresh. We'll ask why again, number 2. So it better represents our offering. Okay, you're thinking, right, okay. That makes sense, but it's still generic, isn't it? So we ask why again. Well, we've changed. We've streamlined our business to focus on X, Y, Z, whatever that might be. Number 4, why? It only accounts for 40% of our resources, yet it generates 80% of our profits, so why wouldn't we focus on it? Number 5, why? It's what customers want from us. Why again? Well, we have the best technology. Again, we ask why. Number 7, well, we lead the market for innovation. There you go, this is our proposition. It's very strong, it's very clear. Now, if the brief was a new look and feel for our brand, we'd be thinking, well, what should that look be? What should the feel be? What's our message? You know, where do we could end up with anything. And if it doesn't really represent what we're really trying to achieve and what our audiences think and what they're looking for from us, then it's not going to be very effective. Now, if we'd stopped at it needs a refresh, again, we're not going to get very far. So it better represents our offering. Okay, we're getting somewhere, but what's the offering? We've streamlined our business to focus on X, Y, and Z. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we're thinking, okay, we know what to focus on. We know why we're doing it as well, because it generates 80% of our profits. It's what our customers want from us. Oh, great. Okay, so we know they want it. We know that if we market this to our customers, it's going to land. But we still need some kind of steer when it comes to what's it going to look like? What's the message going to be? Well, we have the best technology. There you go. Right, straight away. We know what we're doing now, but we can go one further with this and really hone it. We lead the market for innovation. We have a really clear proposition. It's very strong. We know what to do. So let's look at another example. And let's look, rather than focusing on what we want to achieve so much, this one's more focused around kind of solving a problem. The answer, again, on the surface is we want to create a new advertising campaign. Why? Because we need more exposure for our latest product. Sounds fair. Number 2, why? It's not selling as we hoped or planned. Why again? Well, the last ad campaign we ran was a flop. The creative didn't work. Well, I wonder why it was a flop. Well, very few people responded to the campaign. Number 5, why? Well, people can't tell the difference between the new model and the old. 6, why? People don't realise the new features we've added, or they don't realise the value in actually upgrading to the new product. Why? Well, we didn't focus on the differences between the old model and the new. Here we go again. This is our creative strategy, essentially. We know now as creatives exactly what we need to do in our campaign ideas. We know we need to focus on the differences between the old model and the new, and we know we need to big this up. We really need to highlight why you should be upgrading and educating people on the benefit of doing so. So, as you can see, when we ask why, when we nail down these questions early on, it becomes a whole lot clearer. Again, the point of creativity is moving people from point A to point B. And if you think of it like you're standing on one side of a chasm and where you want to go is on the other side. So we're standing where we are now, where our customers are now, what they're thinking now. And on the other side is what we want them to think. And this is where we want to go. Well, creative thinking is the bridge over that chasm. And in order to build that bridge, we actually have to do this work early on to get the strategy in place.